it appears basically that it's not completely ended, the Ebola outbreak in Western Africa, but it appears to be under some measure of control. In Liberia, the U.S.-built treatment centers are now nearly empty. Western organizations, international aid organizations, I should say, are still building more centers, or are still in the midst of finishing up the centers. But there's an average of less than one new case reported in Liberia per day. Several of the U.S.-built units have not had a single patient infected with Ebola. I guess that's good news. What's also interesting is that the CDC, in September, you'll remember they came out with a study projecting what the number of cases of Ebola would be in the event that there was no intervention. The model predicted as many as 1.4 million people could be infected if there was no intervention by public health authorities. However, the model also showed, and this was obviously less reported, that in a scenario where intervention takes place, the model predicted that the actual number of cases between 25,000 and 30 would be 25,000 and 30,000 by last week. Well, as of the second week of January, the data from the World Health Organization indicated just over 21,000 cases. So the CDC model was almost exactly spot on. And I'm just waiting. I mean, it's going to happen like clockwork, right? There's going to be some Republican congressman who's going to call for some type of hearing on why we overspent on Ebola. I mean, this is almost like guaranteed, right? I can almost guarantee you that in some budget fight or something over the next 6 to 8 months, it's going to be, we wasted all sorts of money on this Ebola thing. We've got Ebola centers where nobody's even sitting in them. The only people sitting there, a bunch of doctors sitting around playing cards. I almost guarantee you that's going to happen.
I understand President Obama wants jobs programs for all the black people here, but he's got to do for his relatives over there too.
Unbelievable.
You guys, unbelievable. Oh, we demand an investigation. Ebola, Benghazi, Obama, birth certificate.
Ebola-Ghazi.
Ebola-Ghazi.
This is Ebola-Ghazi all over again. So just keep this in mind, that the CDC was so spot on in their projections. And I imagine I'm not an infectious or disease expert.
But imagine.
I imagine that when they talk about intervention, you aim wider to contain a disease, right? Rather than like, we're just going to go to exactly where we think there's definitely a 100% chance of an outbreak, as opposed to like, we're going to build a center here, we're going to build a center there, and we're going to build 10 centers. 5 of them or 7 of them or 3 of them will get use, and that's the way you contain it, but you got to spend on 10.
But
because
imagine,
you don't know where it's going to be. But that's going to be the Republican talking point. If that hasn't happened by September, or give me until December, somebody write in, and I will give you a free quarter